Hey, welcome to Divinely Uninspired. This is Rusty. I'm back here with April. Hey, April.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I am great. And also, Jeremy, glad to have you with us as you always are.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, this is episode 6, and I'm really excited about this one today because we're going to have a whole lot of fun. If you listened to the show last time we dropped one, we talked about how we were going to play a new game called Would April Buy This? And we are going to get into that in just a little while. But I've been dreaming about this game for the last 2 weeks. I'm so excited about it.
And Jeremy's going to lose.
I'm going to win.
Whatever.
Yeah, and we have not rigged this. We're not going to play it just yet, but it is totally above board. I wanted to make sure that we were all being honest and Christian in that sort of way. So we really need to keep an eye on April.
Whatever.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. Football is back. We're excited about that. We've got some crazy science stories. But before anything else, let's hear a theme song. Here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're listening to Divinely Uninspired, podcast by Journey Church Shepherdsville, hosted by Jeremy Willis and me, Rusty Wilson. You can find us online at journeyshepherdsville.com. For questions or comments, email podcast@journeyshepherdsville.com. Maybe we'll feature your question or comment on a future episode. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the show. So did you watch any of the football games this weekend? My teams did not look good.
One of my teams looked good. The other one looked absolutely trash.
All right, which one's which?
So Kentucky is my college team, and they look pretty good, although they haven't played the SEC team. Well, Missouri's the SEC team, but one of the lower tier ones.
Right.
They have some big games coming up, and you always expect Kentucky to eventually be Kentucky, and so they'll win a lot. But yeah, they looked okay.
Yeah, if they can get their off the field issues figured out.
They've got a lot of issues. There's something about the colleges around here. Louisville, Kentucky,
I was going to say,
they're both in a lot of trouble.
It looks like a Louisville team, and I'm a Louisville fan.
Yeah.
So, and then who is your team?
So I am not a fan of the Packers. I'm a Green Bay Packer owner. And so I own 3 shares of the Green Bay Packers, but they looked like trash this weekend. And I'm pretty bummed because I was excited Aaron Rodgers was coming back and, super excited about it. And now I'm kind of wondering if we should have brought him back because he looked terrible. And all that offseason drama was not worth it because that was a terrible game.
Yeah, I think it's his engagement to Shailene Woodley.
A lot of people are blaming her. I don't really know much about her other than she was in some movies about like some post-apocalyptic thing or something. It was like the Hunger Games, but not the Hunger Games.
The Divergent series.
Yeah, Rodgers looks old too. Like he looked like he's 20 years older this year than he was last year.
Well, he did some guest spots on Jeopardy post Alec Trebek, and so I don't know if he's in the right headspace. But yeah, Shailene Woodley, she's kind of weird.
Well, he's weird. I mean, he's my favorite quarterback because of my team, but he's really a weird guy when you like get to know some of the stuff about him. But
so how did you get 3 shares of the Green Bay Packers? Did you just purchase them?
Yeah. So they, every once in a while, they do things where they do expansions. So it is the only publicly owned NFL team. There's not an owner. It's owned by the public. And so they do these renovations. It's basically, I'm paying for renovations at the stadium.
Got it.
And so the way they pay for it is they make you feel like you own part of the team. There's like an owners meeting I get invited to every year. I've never been. I never probably will go because it's really just more like pomp and circumstance. Like, it's not like they really care what I think about stuff. It's just kind of a fun little thing to say, like, I own part of the Packers.
I think we should do that here. We should sell shares to the building and then, you got to pay dues.
We could sell shares and you get to be April's boss.
Yes.
They would love that because I'm an awesome employee. I don't care what you say.
Would you love to be that?
Okay. April, did you watch any football this weekend?
No.
You're not a sports fan?
I'm a Kentucky basketball fan. I'm not a football fan.
Well, you can't say that. You got to be, if you're a Kentucky fan, you got to be basketball and football.
Well, I, of course, hope they win football, but I could care less about football. So
couldn't care less.
Whatever.
I only say that because I get corrected all the time.
But I think if you're going to pick a college team, you got to be a fan of both sports.
Absolutely. I agree.
No, I don't agree.
And I'm a Louisville fan, and they won, but they did not look good. And it was against a EKU team, Eastern Kentucky University, that just, I mean, come on. There should not be a contest, but it very much was. And then my pro team, I had a whole lot of high hopes for my Tennessee Titans, but they just came out looking like trash against the Arizona Cardinals.
I like the Titans. So my teams are the Packers. I like the Saints, although the Saints is who killed us this week. And then I like the Titans because of proximity. But I'm fearful the Titans was like a one-hit wonder that one year. Like, you know what I'm saying? The Derrick Henry was just running through people and all that stuff. And they've got some great receivers, but I'm starting to wonder if that was like, you know, there's often those great teams that just never live up to it. And I hate it for them, but I kind of feel like that might be them.
Yeah. So I became a Titans fan back, I guess the first time I really cared about watching professional football. It was the year the Titans and the Rams were in the Super Bowl. And at the beginning of the game, I was like, I'm a Titans fan. And then they lost. And I've been riding that horse ever since. We've had some good seasons. Every now and then they look like, they're finally starting to put it together. I'm still hopeful. I'm just hoping it was first game jitters or something like that. But we shall see. So how did you become a Green Bay fan?
I've always been a Green Bay fan since I was a kid. There's a lot of weird stories about it. Part of it is when they got Reggie White, he was a defensive lineman for Tennessee, and I was a Kentucky fan, but I grew up watching Reggie White because he played for Tennessee, and he played for the Eagles at first. He got traded to the Packers. And then, you know, when I was a kid, Brett Favre was Brett Favre. And so there's part of that. And then my dad had a trade. He was a salesman, and so part of his area was Chicago, Milwaukee, and stuff like that. So he brought me back Packers stuff when I was a kid and stuff like that. So anyway, and stuff from Chicago. So that's kind of how it all started. I mean, I can't pinpoint it. I've just, my whole life since I was a little kid, that's just been my team.
Yeah.
So,
and April, you chose to be a Kentucky fan, I take it?
I love Kentucky. So I grew up in a house divided where my dad was diehard U of L and mom was diehard UK. And I just kind of went with UK.
You just like the color blue better?
I actually look better in red.
No.
I just like Kentucky's team better. So
I look like the Kool-Aid man in red, and I'm wearing red today, but it always looks like I'm ready to bust through a wall.
I noticed the Ted Lasso shirt. So.
Yes, of course. We have to have our bi-weekly mention of Ted Lasso.
Of course, see?
such a good show.
It is. I'm angry right now because I just read an article a couple of days ago where Ted Lasso is being criticized. The show is being criticized for being too nice. And I just kind of feel like we've jumped the shark here, that you can be too nice.
He's nice. Not all the characters on the show are nice.
I totally agree.
And obviously I don't want to give away, but he's going through a lot this season that he's still nice, but it's, you know, I think it is nice, but why can't we have positive television?
Yeah. And the article was really just reaching for reasons to be critical of how nice it is.
Yeah.
The world is a pretty rough place sometimes, so it's nice to have niceness.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough Ted Lasso talk. So this past week, my wife bought something for me that I don't know how I feel about it. It's sriracha ketchup, and it's, you know, there's that GIF where the woman tastes kombucha and she's like, no, I don't like it. Well, maybe I like it. Nope, don't like it. And then that's where I feel like I am right now. I don't know. What are your thoughts on these strange condiment combinations? Sriracha ketchup, ketchup-nays.
So I don't like the ketchup-nays, the ones that Heinz made, but all it really is fry sauce. So if you're familiar with like fry sauce, which is just a mixture of mayo and ketchup,
yep,
they just don't have the right balance in theirs, but that's actually a pretty good thing. So Freddy's is going to come in Shepherdsville has fry sauce, and that's all it is ketchup and mayo mixed together. I'm wanting to say In-N-Out Burger has like a fry sauce that's like a mixture of ketchup and mayo.
Yeah,
but you got to get the right ratio of that, which honestly, mayo and fries is one of those things I used to think was just disgusting, and that people were just gross and all of that. But yeah, I actually really enjoy it now. So kombucha or whatever you call it, I don't know how you say that, but I tried it because everybody was talking about how great it is. I don't think anybody really likes it. I think you have to be talked into it because it tastes disgusting. Like it really does. And they'll be like, we need to try this. I did CrossFit for a while and they were big into it. And I was like, no, this is not good. No matter what flavor you give me, I'm not going to like this.
Yeah, I think it tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you, April? What do you think about these strange combinations, and what other terrible combinations are out there that you know of?
I think ketchup and mayonnaise could be good. I agree with Jeremy. It probably has to be the right, formula to make it taste good. But I don't know. Some people like pickles and peanut butter. I think that's absolutely disgusting. Even though I like them both, I can't imagine them together.
I mean, I think peanut butter is pretty good on anything.
Have you had peanut butter on a hamburger? It's actually delicious.
I bet it is.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I can't remember it might have been Smash Burger. I can't remember. One of the burger places here in Louisville has a peanut butter option. And I got it just because I was like, oh, they put on the menu. Oh, it's Grindburger. Grindburger one time had a peanut butter burger, and they just put a slab of peanut butter on it, and it actually is pretty delicious.
Huh.
Ugh, gross. Or it's like the donut hamburger at the fair.
Oh, no. That is delicious.
Oh, I can't try it. I just can't imagine the two being good together.
It is so good. You know what? A really crazy combination is black licorice and candy shell coating.
Whatever.
No.
Whatever.
Oh, Good and Plenty's. Yeah.
Good and
that was-
Plenty's are awesome. You're all picking on me.
You know, I found out how they actually created Good and Plenty. So it was during World War I. And so they were having issues with their vehicles over there driving over like nails and stuff. And so what they did was they created this thing where you could put it in your mouth and chew it for a couple of seconds, take it out and patch the tire with it. And then they ended up having a big surplus of it and people started buying it. And so, yeah, that's where Good and Plenty's came from.
He's so ridiculous.
Most people probably don't know that April loves Good and Plenty's.
They are good.
And plenty.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, one is plenty.
Yeah, right. It's the name is false advertising. Okay, let's move along. Italian shark has virgin birth after 10 years in an all-female shark tank. So I have some questions. The first is, how do we know the shark is Italian? Does it speak with an Italian accent? Or where is its citizenship? And do animals have citizenship? But anyways, beyond that, this whole virgin birth thing is pretty crazy. So I want to read just a little bit of this article to you. And this is out of Live Science or Live Science, however you choose to pronounce that. A shark's rare virgin birth in an Italian aquarium may be the first of its kind, scientists say. The female baby smoothhound shark, also known as musculus, known as Ispera, that is her name, or Hope in Maltese, was recently born at the Calagonone Aquarium in Sardinia to a mother that has spent the past decade sharing a tank with one other female and no males. All right, so this is pretty crazy. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, how do they know the shark's a virgin for one? Like,
Ooh,
yeah, I
good
don't know.
question.
I mean, seriously, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it's in a tank, they would know if there was other sharks in the tank, right? So like, right? I mean, if
there are other sharks in the tank, they're just all female.
So it could be-
okay, so they
Oh.
all are female. Okay, sorry, missed that part.
So it's actually it is a rare it is a rare phenomenon in science called parthenogenesis, where a single-sexed animal can create the other necessary part for fertilization. So in this case, the female shark was able to produce an egg. She was then also producing not the other, not sperm, but it was the necessary DNA for fertilization of that egg. So it kind of sounded like Jurassic Park come to life.
Yeah, but it does happen. I know with some other marine animals, I believe I've read about that in the past. So,
Well, I know the Louisville Zoo has a snake that
Yes.
can do that.
I mean, I saw Junior, so at this point, I just kind of whatever happens, happens.
Do you know the movie Junior?
no.
It's where Arnold gets pregnant. We talked about Arnold last
Oh,
week.
yes.
so,
yeah, never mind. Okay, yes. It was with Danny DeVito and Arnold, right?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
but
the same one?
it's based on a true story.
No.
It is.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
You're all teasing me. Look at you. Look. It's just you all pick on me way too much.
No, it's true.
There's no
It
way.
really wasn't for
It
you.
is not possible.
That really wasn't for you, April. That was for the audience to see if the
Yeah.
audience actually believed that was true. That Junior was based on a true story.
Yeah, it was actually an Austrian man that
Whatever. Everything
became
you're
governor,
saying.
and he was impregnated via science.
I mean, if he can become the governor of a state,
yeah, might as well.
maybe he can become pregnant. I don't know.
Stranger things have happened, I
Yeah.
guess. All right. So, but anyways, write us in what you think about parthenogenesis and the shark musculus. I don't think that's its name. I think that's like it's taxonomy in the whole. I don't know. I don't remember all that stuff from science class. I was not good at science.
Me either.
Jeremy, were you good at science?
I was good. It was my favorite subject. My science teacher actually comes to church here. So yeah, but yeah, science was always my favorite subject.
I like it. I just wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so since we're talking about weird science and Jurassic Park type situations, I got one more weird science story. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah, great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put pictures and
There was a TV show came out after about it too. It wasn't as good as the movie.
No, they never are.
Yeah.
But anyway, a new company with a wild mission: bring back the woolly mammoth. New York Times reports a team of scientists and entrepreneurs announced on Monday that they have started a new company to genetically resurrect the woolly mammoth. The company, named Colossal, aims to place thousands of these magnificent beasts back on the Siberian tundra thousands of years after they went extinct. Other researchers are deeply skeptical that Colossal will pull off such a feat. And if Colossal does manage to produce baby mammoth-like elephants, the company will face serious ethical questions. Is it humane to produce an animal whose biology we know so little about? Who gets to decide whether they can be set loose, potentially to change the ecosystems of tundras in profound ways? All right, so should we be bringing woolly mammoths back?
I'm team no. I think that's dangerous to tread on that, but that's...
Why?
Again, you don't know a lot about it, but also, I don't know that you can bring life. I mean, I know they've tried this before with different animals and species and things like that, but I don't know. I just think it gets real tricky.
Yeah. Well, Jurassic Park, they did it. And that's also based on a true story.
Whatever.
It
oh
is.
my gosh.
It does make me worried that they're wanting to bring back certain animals. Like the woolly mammoth, I'm kind of indifferent towards, but like Jurassic Park, I mean, like, I don't want like T-Rexes running around, or Megalodon or whatever, out in the ocean,
What if they were miniature sized?
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Like a chicken sized T-Rex.
I do always wonder about people, there's a comedian who has a joke about this. I can't remember who it was, but, talking about like, and I agree, like we do get into some funny stuff ethically. I do think, and I don't know how I feel about it. I do think we get some funny stuff, but like people are like, well, we shouldn't do this to this species or create this cross species. And I'm like, what about labradoodles? Like I have a labradoodle. I know you have a labradoodle. I mean, that doesn't happen naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a breeder cross, breeding these animals that would never have bred on their own, either naturally or artificially, and so like, it is one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like we don't want to mess with some of the natural order, but we already have in a lot of ways. But if it's something we want to do, then we're like, okay with it. Now a miniature woolly mammoth would be, can you imagine how much people would buy that for a pet?
Oh my goodness. They would be sold out for weeks on Amazon. I don't know. We already do some weird combinations, things like ketchup and sriracha ketchup.
I think that's a lot different.
I think too, though, like I think my thought would be, I know there's a lot of other animals that have gone extinct that I'd rather see more than a woolly mammoth. Though.
Like what?
I don't know. You put me on the spot now. I can't think of one, but I do know like there's a bunch that like I've gone into either endangered or extinct that I like thinking about like would be like, that would have been kind of cool to see that, I think a pterodactyl. So if we're getting dinosaurs, I think a pterodactyl would be kind of cool.
You can see one right now at the Louisville Zoo. They have an enormous animatronic one.
They're cool.
Screeches when you walk up to it. My child was mildly terrified, but then also very interested. So
the T-Rex was awesome. He's huge.
Yeah, he was fighting a triceratops with its baby.
My two favorite dinosaurs.
The triceratops and the triceratops baby?
No, the triceratops and the T-Rex.
I wonder if they could take this same theory though and apply it to endangered animals though. Like if they can create a woolly mammoth from basically out of nowhere, like could they do this with some of the animals that are going extinct?
In the article, that is part of the argument of why they're pursuing this, because it's like, you could bring them back. They're also saying that they think that the woolly mammoth could actually, so the tundra is apparently not as tundra-esque as it used to be, just with global climate change and all that. And they're saying that the woolly mammoth would actually be able to help turn that back into grasslands, which would be good for
the environment.
Yeah. So
I mean, they kind of did that in America with the bison. I mean, there's no more buffalo, but they're the bison, and they've tried to, as best as they can, bring those back and stuff like that.
There's no buffalo left?
No, the buffalo are pretty much extinct. So most of everything you see is actually a bison. So,
Wow. Learn something new every single day. Well, what's even crazier is they get into it and they're like, well, what are we going to do with this? Like, where are we going to birth this from? Are we going to inseminate an elephant, or what are we going to do here? And they actually said they're planning to develop a 200-pound synthetic uterus for it, which I have more questions about that.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. I mean, you have to I just got my oil changed and it was completely synthetic oil. Is it like synthetic like that?
Right.
Like it's based on I don't know. Write us what you think. Should we bring back the woolly mammoth and should we extend that beyond woolly mammoths to pterodactyls? Because everybody wants to see that. Okay. I think, though, that this brings up some good questions because we are just kind of talking as if we know exactly how old the earth is. But there is some debate amongst that, especially within Christianity. And so we want to find out what
does Jeremy think
about the age of the earth. Jeremy, is the earth 6,000 years old or 4.5 billion years old or a million years old? And does it matter?
Or 13.7.
Or 13.7 million years or billion?
Billion, not million. So it's a complicated question, and I'll probably need some feedback from you guys because I'll probably go on some rabbit trails to bring you back. But first one would be, I don't know if it matters. Just being honest with you. The big theories are the young earth creationist versus old earth creationist. And the big rub is...
Will you explain what those are?
So young earth creationist would say that the biblical account is literal, not only in text, but also in aging of the earth, which if you age the Bible based on the text that we have, we're looking 6 to 7. I mean, some guys stretch it to 8, but 7 seems to be the general 6 to 7,000 years old. So not only is man that old, but that's how old the earth is, because it was 24 hours, 7 24-hour days. We're created in the middle of that. That's the beginning of time, basically. So that's young earth. Then there's old earth, which is the idea that God did create everything, but it was done through ages, and that necessarily the text in the Bible isn't a literal, type of thing to where we prescribe it. That's how old the earth is. That's how old the account of what we have is within the text. So it basically comes down to one word, the word yom, and from the biblical perspective, yom.
Oh, okay.
And it's a Hebrew word. So essentially this word can mean multiple things. It can mean a literal 24-hour day. It can mean a period of time. It can mean a period of light and darkness. It can mean a long period of time. It can mean an extended period of time. So, I'm basically telling you, it can mean like 7 different things when it comes to time. And so part of understanding that is, and this is going to be real nerdy for a second. So the Hebrew language the biblical Hebrew language only has about 8,500 words, give or take a few. So very limited. So compare that to English that we speak today is between, depending on whether you're Oxford or whether you're just using words we use, 600,000 to 1.2 million. And so 8,000 words to 600,000, 1.2 million, that's a big difference in the amount of words. So they would have a word that can mean lots of things. So what more of your young earth creationists say is the word yom has to mean literally 24-hour periods. So that's where you get that. Old earth, which is the camp I tend to lean more into, means that these were probably creation periods. And so that is basically the big difference between those two worlds. I still believe God created it. I still believe there's an order to the creation. I just kind of lean in the camp that it might have been longer than 24-hour periods. And there's a lot of reason for that, even in the Bible itself. So if you start the story, God creates everything, and he creates light and he creates darkness. Okay. Then on day 3, he creates sky. Then on day 4, he creates, according to the text, he creates the waters and the earth, or the land. And so even in that, you've got this weird thing. What's crazy is day 5, I think it is when he creates the sun as we know it. So there's just a weird, that should be radars going off in your head. This isn't supposed to be an exact, this is just giving us understanding of what it could be. A good example of that is, Abraham's story, which also is in Genesis. Sometimes the Bible uses language we understand. And so when God talks to Abraham, he tells him his descendants will outnumber the stars in the skies. Well, that came true because not only the people directly, from Abraham, but also because of faith, billions of people now connect themselves to Abraham. Now, if God had said, hey, one day billions of people, Abraham, are going to be your descendants, Abraham would have been raised his hand. Hey, what's billions? Because he wouldn't have had any context for that.
Sure.
Same thing, I think, with the creation story is that for me, and I know people that disagree with this. I know people that love, the Ken Ham stuff, Answers in Genesis. I'm not a huge fan of that for a lot of reasons. And I don't think that Ken Ham's dumb. Ken Ham's way smarter than me. And it used to bother me, stuff like that. And when I was in seminary, I asked the professor one time, I said, why do some people believe this stuff? And, they're really smart people. And he goes, well, smart people believe wrong things all the time, and so that was one of those moments of okay, I'm not lining up with that. Now, at the same time, if someone wants to come and say the earth is 6,000, 7,000 years old, okay. I don't need to prove to you that I think you're wrong. as long as you're not trying to tell me that I'm wrong. Does it make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. And so that's where I kind of land in that is, to me, the creation story, as long as we're still saying the same thing, and even with, evolutionary theories. So now the big thing is, we no longer call it the Big Bang. So if you still call it the Big Bang, just know that we haven't called it that in a long time. We call it the singularity, the singular event. And so they'll say, okay, there was a singular event that caused everything to go into being. And I'm like, absolutely. I believe the exact same thing. There was a singular event that caused everything to go into being. We just have different origination stories of what that singular event was. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't think that it's as big of a deal as people maybe make out to be. And so I think you can believe in 6,000 or 13.7 billion. And so, yeah.
Yeah. April, what do you think?
I
know
agree
this
with
is
Jeremy.
as always, it's what does Jeremy think, but I want to hear what you think.
I agree with Jeremy, though. I don't think it matters. I'm not educated enough to tell you if it's 6,000 or 13.7 million. I haven't studied that at all. So, but I don't think it matters at the end of the day what you believe as far as, it's not a heaven or hell issue. At least I don't think so.
But you think it's 13.7, right?
I'm not telling you. Maybe I think it's 10,000 years.
Well, there's nobody really that believes that.
Well, I do. So there's that. I'm just joking.
April's just going to go with her own thing. I think that you should do that. I think you should just be like, I think it's 30,000 years old.
Yeah, that's what I'm
going
going
to
do.
And when people say why, just be like, that's just what I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
You don't need to tell people why you think that. Just that's what I think.
I could tell them it's 1,000 years old.
Well, no, you don't want to do that.
Why?
Because we know that. Like,
but I still believe it.
You would. Well,
we believe the Earth. We know the Earth is round, but there's people that believe it's flat. So
that's true.
Yeah,
but you can't say 1,000.
I can say 1,000. See, now I'm Team 1,000.
So you're saying, okay.
I'm just joking.
She can say whatever she wants.
That's say right. Whatever you want. People are going to be like, she has a full-time job somewhere? Yeah.
I'm going to go in between 13.7 million and 6,000. Okay, billion, whatever. Yeah, I said 1,000.
I will say this. Can I say this? Just my real quick kind of jab. One of the things that does bother me about this conversation, though, if I'm honest, which I love, that's how Dave Chappelle always says things. He's about to say something that's going to make people mad. One of the things that I have to say is people always want to talk about the beginning and they want to talk about when it's going to end. And it kind of drives me crazy because we have no control over either one of those things. The beginnings happened, whether it was 13.7, 6,000, whatever, it's happened. The end, we don't know. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. We don't know anything about, the Bible talks about it's like a thief in the night. What I'm always concerned about is people, that's what they want to study. And we live, as N.T. Wright would say, is in the in-between.
Yep.
And so why do we not want to have more conversations about what we can do here and now to make the world a better place versus how did it start and how's it going to end? Like, that's the thing that always drives me crazy about Christianity is we get so hyper-focused on the beginning and the end, but we live in the middle. So let's focus on the middle and talk about the middle. And so anyway, that's my little rant about that.
No, I think that's a really good point. The here and the not yet, it's when Jesus says, the kingdom of God is at hand and is coming. And
right.
It's like, oh, what is that, Jesus? That's a weird combination of words. But anyway, well, thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate you sharing that with us. Do you think that Christians can believe in evolution?
Absolutely. I do. And let me say that, I love science, like I said. Macroevolution, I sometimes tend to struggle with, which is the interchanging of species from one species to another. But microevolution, I don't think you can disagree with. I mean, we've changed even within our species. And so is it possible that species could turn from one to another? I'm not going to rule it out. I have a hard time with it, not even from a creationist standpoint, but from a science standpoint. Mm-hmm. But micro, yeah. So I think, but in the evolutionary theory that basically God created everything and it's evolved to where it is now, absolutely, you can believe that and become a Christian or be a Christian.
I think we're going to evolve here soon to develop like eyeballs in our throat so that we don't have to look down at our phones.
You are so crazy.
We just have a third eyeball that is always staring at our phones. There would be so fewer wrecks because people wouldn't be looking down at their phones.
And neck injuries.
Yes, because they wouldn't be able to move.
That's right.
I like it. I think we should patent it. All right. Well, thanks, Jeremy. That was What Does Jeremy Think?
That's what Jeremy thought.
Okay, now let's get into what everybody has been waiting for and talking about amongst our staff. We are going to play a game called Would April Buy It? And so let us explain the background of this game just a little bit. April really appreciates all of the let's see how I can say this not offensively.
You won't offend me.
Yeah, we can't offend April. Jamie told me that we're too mean to April, so I've been trying today not to be mean to April.
You all do not offend me.
Okay, well, good.
I promise.
So this is the well. There might be some of our listeners who would be offended. The things that Hobby Lobby sells, the things that Lifeway sells, that cater to the Christian community. You all know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you will after this game. So, April likes that stuff. And so we decided it would be fun to play a little game. Would April buy it? And so here are the stakes. If April loses, Jeremy gets to pick out a t-shirt that she has to wear on a Sunday and has to do announcements from the stage in.
Oh, great. That's not part of the deal.
No, it is.
No, it is.
Is that everybody gets to
gosh.
see it. And however, if April wins, she gets to pick out a shirt of her choice for Jeremy that he has to preach in,
Yes.
which you said you already have one kind of in the.
Yeah, I got two. There's like the Jesus Christ and pumpkin spice, and
Oh,
then
that's a
there's
good
one
one.
that says fall, in love with Jesus, and it's got leaves all over it. So yeah, he's gonna wear one of those.
But here's the thing. I'm going to win either way. And
Whatever.
the reason I say that is I wear shirts all the time because y'all will tell me y'all make shirts and I'll be like, you have to wear this. I mean, I wore the pastel Easter shirt this year. I don't mind wearing the shirt. The shirt I'm picking out for you, April, is going to give you some looks of
Whatever.
so it's going to be awesome.
You're gonna lose.
All right, I am very excited about this. So let's go ahead and get our game show music going on. Hey, everybody, it's the Would April Buy This game show. I'm here with Jeremy and April, and we are going to jump right into it. We've got 7 items chosen from Hobby Lobby, Oriental Trading, Amazon, and other places that I don't remember their names. But anyway, so here's what we're going to do. Jeremy, I'm going to hand you a list of or a stack of papers here.
All right.
And we're going to go through and I'm going to keep track of what you say. We are not going to reveal these in the moment. We are going to wait until we get through all 7 of them.
And I have to get 4 out of 7 right.
4 out of 7. Yes, you have to get 4 out of 7. Now, if you get 4 out of 7 wrong, you have to wear the shirt that April picks out for you.
No problem.
But we're going to go ahead and get this going here. So here are your pictures. So I want to describe what these are for people in the audience. And for those of you playing along at home, please, no hints, no calling out what you think she would do. The first, item number 1, is a home decor item. It says, coffee sippin', Jesus lovin', home sweet home. Coffee sippin', Jesus lovin', home sweet home. Would April buy this? Number 1, Jeremy, would April buy this? What do you think?
I say yes, and I'd be surprised if this is not in her house already. Like, I would be shocked if this is not actually in her kitchen.
All right. So number 1, Jeremy says, yes, she would buy it. Okay. Let's keep going with our items here. Item number 2 from orientaltrading.com. Testaments. And I mean that with M-I-N-T-S. These are mints wrapped in paper that have a Bible verse on them, and they are cleverly called testaments. Jeremy, would April buy testaments?
No. I give her a hard time, but that's too far.
It is quite far, but some people might like those. That's why Oriental Trading still sells them, and they're on the top 10 list. All right, the third item from Amazon.com. This is another sign, very, very holy. It says, I still remember the days I prayed for what I have now. For $24, would she buy? I still remember the days I prayed for what I have now.
I really, really want to say yes, but there's something about it just makes me think she wouldn't. So I'm gonna say she wouldn't buy it.
All right, so that's a no on item number 3. Item number 3. Okay, item number 4. From Amazon.com, a bumper sticker that says, do you follow Jesus this closely? Obviously referencing the tailgating process that so many of us dislike. It gets so many people into trouble. for $7.90. Would April purchase Do You Follow Jesus This Closely bumper sticker? Jeremy.
I'm going to say no, because I think she told me one time she was a bad driver and didn't want people having a Jesus fish on the back of her car. So she doesn't want people knowing that she's a Jesus follower.
All right. So that is a no on number 4. Number 5. Also from Amazon.com. A coffee mug. A bright pastel pink ceramic coffee mug. It is well with my soul, written on the side with a little heart. Jeremy, would April buy this coffee mug?
I'm going to go yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Item number 6. A t-shirt that says the words, Jesus took naps. I'm just trying to be like Jesus.
Absolutely, she would buy it.
Okay. All right. So he says that she would buy the t-shirt. And then number 7, the final item, this item that every Christian should own, that every Christian should have, that every Christian should inherit if they haven't already got one. A Jesus Christ commemorative coin. It's a picture of Jesus on the center of a silver dollar, valued at $7.99. Would April buy this commemorative coin?
No, she wouldn't, but I would.
Okay, no for April, but a yes for Jeremy. Maybe we should start buying these and giving them away in our gift bags.
I think it's awesome.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's pretty awesome.
Our first time guest bags?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that.
Commemorative coin,
Yeah.
a journey
I think
commemorative
that
Jesus
coin
Christ
actually
coin.
costs more than our...
Oh, I'm sure it does. All right, everybody, let's get to our results. So, Jeremy, you said item number 1, which was coffee sipping, Jesus loving, home sweet home. You said April would indeed purchase this. And April said...
I absolutely would.
Oh, he was right. That's one.
And I do have something close to that already in my house.
Oh, I almost feel like he should get a second point for that.
Oh, I
I
don't
think
know.
I should too. I think it's
Yeah.
come close.
Yeah. Okay. Item number 2, Oriental Trading's Testaments. Jeremy said, no, that was a road too far. April, would you buy Testaments?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. He was right. That's 2 right for Jeremy. This is not looking good, April.
I know.
All right. I love this. All right. So the item number 3. I can't remember what item number 3 was.
I still remember the days I prayed
yes.
for what I have now.
The very, very holy sign. I still remember the days that I prayed for what I have now. Jeremy said that April would not buy this. She would not buy this item. And April, you said...
I absolutely would buy that item.
Oh, man.
So I was gonna say yes, but then my
saw
thought was, you can only have so many sides that say so many
Have
things.
you been in my house? You've been in my house.
But
Seriously.
I really wanted to say yes. That was the one. That's the only one I've been torn on.
Your house actually looks like a Hobby Lobby.
It does.
Interesting.
It absolutely does.
All right. Item number 4. A bumper sticker that says, do you follow Jesus this closely? Jeremy said no, April would not buy it. And April, what did you say?
Absolutely not.
All right, he was correct. April would not buy that.
And I was prepared to quit if he said yes, because what he said is true with my road rage.
Oh, okay.
I don't put any kind of Christian stickers on my
So you
car.
guys don't think I listen? I'm always listening.
Yeah. I have to give him prop for that.
That's scary. All right, number 5. Item number 5.
I was torn on this one too. It's an ugly coffee mug,
It is an ugly coffee
but
mug.
I feel like the saying she would love.
All right, this is the pink coffee mug that says on the front of it, it is well with my soul, with a pretty little heart. Jeremy said, yes, she would buy it. April, what did you say? Would you buy this coffee mug?
No.
Oh, no. Ooh,
Sorry,
this is
Jeremy.
getting good. This is getting good.
So I
We've
only
got
need one more though, right?
You need one more. She needs 2 more.
All right.
She needs 2 more. All right. Item number 6. Jesus took naps. I try to be like him. Jeremy said, yes, April would buy this shirt. April, would you buy this shirt?
No, I don't take naps, Jeremy.
No.
It's going to come down to the
It
Jesus
is
coin.
coming down to the Jesus coin.
It's not that I think you take naps. It's that you love these shirts with
I
these
do
like
love
clever
corny
little
shirts,
like
yes.
you would buy this for somebody else.
That's not the game, though.
Would
see?
you buy this for somebody else?
I would for somebody
Okay, so
else.
she would buy it, right?
No, not for me.
All right, so Jeremy wins.
No,
You just said on public record you would buy this for somebody else.
not for me,
That wasn't
because
that
I
was,
don't take naps.
All right, we are down to the very last item.
If you say you would buy this, I really question a lot.
This is the commemorative Jesus Christ coin, valued at $7.99, worth more than what we put in our volunteer and first-time guest bags,
We should start putting these in there.
which is sad. If we really,
Let's start putting these in there.
we will buy them in bulk and get them for $3.73 a piece. Jeremy said, no, April would not buy this. And April, you said,
No,
oh, and Jeremy wins! All right, very fun. April,
I'm not happy right now. He cheated somehow.
I did not cheat.
I don't think he could have, because I was the only one that had
I
the.
know.
So the sign I really was. So even the ones that I was wrong on, like I had this gut feeling. Like, but here's what got me on this. For some reason, this coffee mug, I saw the heart on the inside, and I was like, April will think that's clever, and so she'll want that.
So in your defense, I was kind of like, would I really buy that or not? And I said no. Just I'm really funny about my coffee mug, so they've got to, I didn't like the pink.
Man, I don't know about you guys, but I need a nap after
Yeah.
that. I am tired. That was exciting. So, April, you are going to have to wear the T-shirt of Jeremy's choice, and I am so excited.
I will make you a promise. There will not be any bad language on it.
Thank you.
Nothing too vulgar. Nothing like sexually explicit.
Well, thank you.
But that's all I'm going to promise.
So that's all I'm going to promise.
Yeah.
Can I put like a smiley face over
Nope.
it? Ah,
That was so much fun.
that was fun.
so much fun.
That I sincerely hope we didn't lose people through that, because that was maybe the best. This is maybe the best show ever produced in the history of podcasts.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
In the hundreds of years that people have been doing podcasts, I'm convinced this is the ultimate. Like, if you can achieve this, then you will be successful.
I agree, Rusty.
Okay, so to get on to our main topic for the day, this past week was the 20th anniversary of September 11th, and I just thought that it was important for us to just take a few minutes and just kind of reflect on that day. That is one of those days where every single person can remember exactly where they were and what they were doing. And I think it's easy to lose sight of how important a day that was. I mean, it's awful. 2,996 people died on that day. That doesn't even include all of the people who have since died from cancer and complications of being a part of the cleanup process. 343 firefighters that day. That's as many firefighters as the city of Louisville has in total. There were 37 police officers and 125 armed servicemen and women. And I just wanted to take a few moments and just kind of talk about where you were that day. What do you remember thinking? April, why don't you start out?
So I was at work. I was an assistant for some of the executives at the company, and one of the executives kind of sat across from my cubicle, and we just heard her yell, "Oh my gosh, a plane hit the Trade Center." So all of us kind of run into her office, and you just stand there shocked because you're just watching it, and it's like, I don't remember how many minutes later, you see another one and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? We were thinking it was just an accident. And then you see the second one and she's like, oh my gosh, it was a terrorist attack. And we had clients in the building and so forth, but you just remember, seeing that and think, gosh, this is happening on our land, in our country. It was just very crazy to see. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those moments where you're in shock. You don't know.
Yes.
You really, it's hard to process what you're seeing. And now we see footage of those days,
Yes.
and it just, for me, it always brings up a lot of those same feelings of that day of, I'm watching this like a serious tragedy here where I just can't imagine the fear of people that were in those buildings, and the fear of people who had loved ones who worked in those buildings.
Yep.
I was in third period. It was my freshman anthropology class with Mrs. Wheeler, and I remember once the second plane hit and the first tower fell, she just turned it on mute, and she was kind of a different teacher. I loved her. She was awesome, but she was different. And she just said, well, does anybody have anything to say? Any thoughts? And it was really like she gave us this moment to process out loud. But of course, it was a lot of, well, what does this mean? Who did this? I mean, it's clearly not an accident at this point.
Right.
And, I remember my mom picked me up from school that day, and I just said, what does this mean? And she said, I don't know. Yeah. I don't have an answer for that. So,
yeah, I remember seeing, just the images of the people jumping out of the buildings.
Yeah.
And I love magazines. So I had collected all the magazines at the time. I still have them.
Yeah.
Of September 11th. And you just look through all that and just, my goodness, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Hard.
Jeremy, where were you that day?
I was a sophomore in college, and I was on my way to, so I was getting ready. I was living with my parents still at the time, and my mom came in and said that there had been a plane hit a building. She'd been watching the news that morning. So I turned it on as I was getting ready, just in time to watch the second plane hit. And then, that was like, 2000, and so 2001. And so it wasn't like internet was readily available. Like I didn't have an internet at my house, or like nothing. Facebook doesn't exist or anything like that. So I had to go get ready for college, and so we went ahead. I went to school, and like nobody was there. Like they canceled all the classes for the day. Because at the time, they really didn't know, like, is this going to happen everywhere,
Right.
And so they canceled school, which we didn't know. A bunch of us didn't know. And so we ended up going to school, and we sat down in one of the rooms, and we're turning on the TV and watching the news. And it was just like a really surreal feeling. We're at this big school, basically, and there's nobody here, and then, so I remember that. And then, I always think about, in fact, I watched, there's a great thing on Apple TV right now about it. Everything that went on with Bush during that time. But like, you always think about like, not only the people, but the people on the planes, and especially the one United, 93, like them taking over the plane and like knowing they're going to die, but like saving people. It's just crazy. And like, I forgot, you even forget sometimes that like the Pentagon got attacked.
Yeah.
Like, cause all we think about is New York.
Right.
But that like they went after the Pentagon, and like, and sounds like they were trying to go after the White House potentially, or the Capitol building. It was just really crazy.
Yeah. It changed the entire world. There was the world pre 9/11 and the world we live in now. And it's never going to be the same. And it's one of those things that people often talk about, well, why is it important for the whole world to remember? I get why it's important for Americans to remember, but why the whole world? And it's because the whole world was affected that day. And it was, the global markets were affected, people trying to get into or out of the country. So you can't just shut down an entire country's transportation system and expect the whole world not to be impacted.
Well, this is one of the byproducts, but air travel just in itself has changed. There was
Absolutely.
not only here in America, but the rest of the world. Like, it changed a lot of things. It changed the Middle East, and obviously we're 20 years later and it's still not 100% resolved what's going on over there. But yeah, the world definitely took notice. And there was a fascinating thing. And I don't know if I talked about this last week or not. I don't think I did, but there was a fascinating thing in that Apple documentary where Condoleezza Rice had to call Russia because we were heightening our, from I think orange to red, like our military. And apparently they like notify other countries of that. And Russia she wanted to make sure that Russia knew we didn't think they had done it. And so she called Putin, which I didn't even know this existed. And she called Putin and he was basically like, yeah, we've lowered ours to yellow. We don't want you to think that like we're, it was just like this weird moment of like, even like, the Russia, which we would have been our enemies, a few years earlier is like respectful of what happened to our country that day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that it's crazy now that we have adult people who don't remember seeing, that event because they were too young or they were not even born yet. And so, but gosh, if you want to share your story with us, we would love that. If you would, just email podcast@journeyshepardsville.com if you would like, and just tell us, where were you that day? What do you remember feeling? And
in the background, you got to play Alan Jackson.
Yes. Yeah.
Where were you when the world stopped turning? Is that what you're talking about?
Is that, I'm not a country fan. So
it's Alan Jackson. As soon as you said, where were you when that happened, I immediately started thinking of that song.
I guess I do vaguely remember that one. I remember Toby Keith song.
Yes.
Oh, everybody remembers the Toby Keith song.
Yeah.
No, the Alan Jackson song was much more respectful of the situation.
Gotcha. Leave it to Toby Keith to ruin everything. All right, everybody. Well, that is our show for the day. For the next 2 weeks, you can listen to this one or go back through our catalog. We've officially hit 6 episodes.
That's awesome.
Great.
We're really excited. The numbers have been looking great. We're going to have some guests on in some future episodes, do some interviews and things like that. If you would help us out, go and rate the podcast, leave us a 5-star review or a like or whatever it is. That will help us reach more people. And as always, if you have thoughts, questions, comments, you can email podcast@journeyshepardsville.com. If you have complaints, you can email April@journeyshepardsville.com. Thanks for being with us. We will see you next time.